The Unused Subs is proudly presented by McDonald's. Don't forget to subscribe. All White's goalkeeper Ollie Sail is our guest this week, talking about his recovery from knee surgery. This Saturday's top-of-the-table clash between Auckland and the Jets, and as the World Cup looms large, who's New Zealand's best shot stopper? Is it Alex Paulsen or Max Crocombe? Ben Waine steams into the FA Cup quarters, and beloved sports media personality James McOnie enters Goran's garden. The spoon is away, but myself and Paul Eiffel will hold down the fort, and what a fort it is. The mighty, magnificent Tyler Street Sport. You guys are basically best buds now. You spent the weekend together at Auckland FC versus Perth Glory, and now here you are on a podcast together. So how's this bromance developing in the absence of Jacob Spoonley?
Oh, we don't want the Spoons to feel too left out.
It
did run pretty smoothly yesterday.
It's almost like when I was a kid, I used to watch this TV show called Stars in Their Eyes. And, you know, the person would come through and they go, well, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Britney Spears. You are the new Jacob Spoonley. How does it feel slipping into those shoes, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was what I was going for. I think I was going for something a bit bigger.
Yeah. The result wasn't as great as it could have been against Perth. And now that leads to probably the game of the season, Iffy. It's Newcastle Jets. What are our expectations of this one? It's a huge game. It's game of the season stuff.
Yeah, I think obviously Corica would have been in a position where if they could have got the extra couple of points this weekend, it's massive. But it's still big, but it's big for different reasons. Now they have to go there and probably win if they want to pick up the Premier's plate. I'm still not convinced it's that big an issue. Like, great, win it again, but they want to win the whole thing. And ultimately, it's top two. So I think even if they do go there and don't pick up all three, pick up a point, stay in the hunt, who knows what's going to happen with Newcastle between now and the end of the season. I think they've just got to hang in there. If they go there and get beat, 7 points behind, they're miles off. And then it's probably Newcastle's to lose. But like I said, I think it's bigger picture stuff. Make sure they're right in the mix and going for the grand final rather than worrying about the Premier's plate, which they've already won.
But if they're 7 points off the pace, if you are 7 points off the pace, Ollie, then surely that's like a little bit of mental disintegration. Like Newcastle have a jump on you guys heading into the playoffs. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But I don't think the points tally, if it does play out like that, is too much of a concern. It's more the games where they beat us at home. That's more of a concern probably than anything else. Where it lands come the next 7 or 8 rounds is a different story. I'm not sure to be too concerning, but yeah, obviously the boys want to win the Premier's plate. They've done it before. They feel like, you know, that they were the standard and that they're setting the standard, and that was the goal, because they wanted 2 pieces of silverware this year, and they wanted to go one better. So it's just that yesterday's going to hurt a little bit and a bit of a dent, but like I said, like you've just teed that game up perfectly. It's still more or less going to give us a good outlay of the land for where we land at the end of the season. So it's a pretty cool one.
Since the Newcastle Jets beat the Wellington Phoenix on December 14, they've gone on this crazy run. 13 games played, 1 defeat to MacArthur, 1 draw to the Mariners just a couple of weeks ago. They've scored 32 goals in 13 games. So what makes them so lethal in front of goal, Ollie?
I don't actually know. I can't put my finger on it. They've got so many young, talented players that are just bursting out of their shells and doing so well, and the confidence is flowing through the group. They're shooting from everywhere. They're scoring from everywhere. I heard a stat in their game the other night that they've crossed the ball the least out of any team in the comp.
Wow.
So they're building up and playing through central areas and creating these wonderful goals. So chance creation is not a problem for them, and they're doing it, you know, the right way if you want. Yeah, they're just on fire, mate.
You're talking about not crossing the ball. That's a really crazy stat. But you look at the players they've got in those areas, the likes of Dobson and Bayliss, and there's some really, really good young players that I think. Bayliss, is it Bayliss Kiwi, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he could be a bottle for the World Cup. I think he's been great. But I think they're just playing with no fear. For the most part, there's not too much experience in the squad, so they've probably never been in this position. So it's like, they're just going out and playing. It looks like a load of mates that have got together, just go and play on the weekend. No, it sounds crazy, but there's no fear. They don't really probably even realise where they're at. They'll probably look back and go, geez, what were we up to that season? But it's really cool to watch. And I was saying to Ollie off camera there, like, obviously I watch the Phoenix and I watch Auckland, but there's some games I don't tune in for. But if Newcastle are playing, I'm having a watch, because you know
box office
Jets. You know something's going to happen.
Jets.
Yeah, you know something's going to happen. And I think Milligan's kind of encouraging them to do different things, and like Ollie said there, like they score all sorts of different goals, and they're encouraged to shoot from angles that you're sort of like, wow, he won't shoot. Oh, Jesus, gone in there. And I think that's part of the fun in watching them too.
Was it a 21-second goal that they scored against the Wellington Phoenix? Like you turn on the TV and they've gone top bins inside the first 30 seconds. So they've got that about them, the ability in front of goal. But conversely, on the other side of the coin, when you look at their defensive record, it's not flash. Like they've got probably one of the worst defensive records in the top 6, which is crazy for a team sitting so far ahead at the top of the ladder, Ollie. So let's talk about them defensively. 30 goals conceded to Auckland FC's 20. Sam Cosgrove's banging in the goals. Jesse Randall's always a threat. You've got guys that have the ability to take on a defence and score goals. How do Auckland FC propose to unlock this Newcastle Jets side again?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think scoring goals against them hasn't been our issue. It's conceding goals against them, which seems to be everyone's issue, to be fair.
Yeah.
But what I do really like about that Newcastle side is that the chances being given to the young players doesn't just extend to the ones at the front of the pitch. It's the back line too. They're not the oldest, most experienced players either. And they're being asked to do a job. And Millsy's obviously got them set up in a way that he wants them to take risks and play out from the back and play through the central areas. And the chances they're creating aren't just coming from that final third from individuals. It's through the build-up as well from the back. So you have to tip your hat, and I guess it's something that he's willing to accept. He's got the ledger. It's in their favour at the moment. They're scoring more goals than they're conceding, so it's working.
Kind of reminds me of the English Newcastle back in the day when Keegan was there. It was almost like, well, we know we've got so much firepower. We'll outshoot you. Let's go. Yeah. And again, everybody would tune in to watch those games, and I think you're seeing a bit of that now. So it'd be interesting to see from Milligan how he evolves as a coach. Is this something that he's going to stick with because he's so new, so fresh? But it's certainly very exciting. I hope he continues. It'll be really interesting.
Obviously, you've just parked that Perth Glory draw 2-2 at Mount Smart, and then all eyes are on Newcastle Jets. But has it been in the back of your minds, or maybe in the forefront, leading into this fixture? And what's been said inside the four walls at Auckland FC heading into this game on Saturday?
Yeah, of course it's natural. I think players and fans, that you look forward. You look towards the fixtures that like tee themselves up just the way it goes. But obviously the focus was to stay on the job at hand, and Perth felt like we would have the better of Perth despite our strange, oddly not so flash record against them. We felt like at home and the form we were in and the points we were carrying into the game, we felt like we would get the job done there. And it started, the first 15 minutes of the game felt like that. The momentum was in our favour, and we scored a good goal, and we were really limiting their chances. They had very little possession and kind of trying to hurt us on the counter-attack, but it didn't seem very effective. And then the sucker punch of the set piece just kind of came from nowhere. And again, they hit us on the second half on transition, and it just kind of sucked the life out of the stadium, and didn't see it coming. But we landed where we landed, and it wasn't our day. But certainly, I think in the back of players' minds, they would have been looking forward to the Newcastle game. You always try your best not to and stay focused, but I think it's kind of hard to.
It's like blinking, flashing. Yeah. I'm over here, guys. I'm over
but
here.
Don't look.
The table clash.
Yeah.
Just before we move on, we've actually got James McOnie in my garden to look forward to. What on earth was Jake Brimmer doing in his high-vis pink vest as a substitute, getting in the face of Sam Sutton? Come on, Iffy.
Well,
what was he doing?
Yeah, I don't know if I can stick up for him. Look, I think.
I don't think we can.
No, I know, but I think in the moment it was like Kolakowski was giving it to the Port, wasn't he?
He's hardly giving it to the Port. He's telling them to just calm down. Like,
yeah,
gosh, but he's not ripping the fingers and shouting obscenities.
For me, it's too early. Like, don't be telling the Port to calm down. Tell them to calm down at the end of the game when you've won. I think I don't like it in the game. That's just how I am. I'm not saying I'd have got in his face like Brimmer, but I would have probably done it from a few metres away.
It shouldn't be up to the substitute to get involved.
Well,
should it?
Should it? Well, he made it. He did. He
Well,
decided it was up to him. He decided it was up to him. He made it his job. So, yeah, look, it got a bit of feeling back into the game, I think, for the Port, and they didn't like what was happening, and Brimmer stuck up for them, and I think it maybe gave him a little bit of a G up to get back in the game.
But why is he in the face of your mate Sam Sutton?
Well, there must be
he was late to the party.
He was closest on scene. No, I don't know. Jakey probably just felt like it wasn't warranted. Like it wasn't. Iffy said it wasn't too carried away. It wasn't too serious, but yeah, probably was a bit early in the game for it. But I know Collar very well. Collar's a good mate of mine, and he loves winding everyone up. It's a big part of his game. I saw when our second goal went in, when it was getting VAR reviewed, there was a little kerfuffle on the sideline, and it was Collar front and centre arguing with all of our staff, just him on his lonesome. So yeah, he's at the centre of everything. But no, I don't think there was much to it, to be honest. I think Jakey was just trying to move things along, and then maybe a little bit of the old Wellington, Auckland bad blood from their time against each other came.
And he was a big threat, wasn't he? Whole game, actually. Collar, I think he had a really, really good game. He was the one that was always going to try and catch him on the counter, and that proved the case.
Well, we'll talk more about Ollie's injury and his recovery from that, and we'll also talk a little bit of World Cup selection as well. Who gets the nod? Is it Max Crocombe or Alex Paulsen in goal? But up next, courtesy of McDonald's, we've got James McOnie in my garden. Not as bad as it sounds. Most people would obviously recognise you from Crowd Goes Wild over, what is it now, almost 20 years?
20 years this year, yeah, 20 years of CGW.
And from that, though, they would probably think that you're mainly a rugby guy. Where did your passion for football and Kiwi football come from?
It came from a small town in Te Awamutu where I grew up in the Waikato, and I was just better with the football than I was with the rugby ball at a young age. So, and that was the sport that spoke to me, and I played for Te Awamutu and for Pekaro Primary, and I was pretty average right from the start. They told me to kick the ball out. That was the best option. But the following year, however, oh, look out. I covered the Football Kings. I remember old Kevin Fallon was the coach. The first falling out, though, was with Winton Rufer, who played for the Football Kings, and he apparently didn't turn up to as many trainings as he should have. And
right.
Kevin Fallon said to me, "I can't coach a ghost." And I was like, it's quite a good quote, that.
Well, if he can't do it, nobody can.
Exactly. It's very hard to coach a ghost.
You were the lucky man chosen to head down to Wellington and watch that one shot for glory against Bahrain way back in 2009. And there you were in the tunnel talking to a very, very young Chris Wood.
A bit of a larrikin as well back in the day.
He's reined it in now, eh?
Totally. He's running a lot of filters, Chris Wood. So we know what you like, Woodsy.
He's Chris Snapchat Wood.
He was an outstanding young character in that team. But Ryan Nelson, he was awesome as well. Ryan invited me to watch that first game, I think it was it Spain versus Switzerland? I was watching it in the All Whites compound. He said, "Do you want to come in?" I went, "Oh, yeah, okay." So we're watching it with him and Simon Elliott and someone else, poor player who's just someone else. Probably just Chris Wood.
It's like Tommy Smith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who was it? Tim Brown, owner of bloody Allbirds. And it was just interesting hearing their view on the game. I've always had crazy, stupid expectations for the All Whites. I was gutted when they didn't progress when they played Paraguay in 2010. I was even more gutted as a kid watching the 1982 World Cup, believing that we should have beaten Brazil. Well, we didn't play the proper goalie back in 1982. Let's not get into the injustice of Richard Wilson setting a world record of a clean sheet of 921 minutes over 9 games, with no goals, and then not getting a single minute at the 1982 World Cup.
In favour of Van Hattem, correct?
Yeah, great guy, Frank. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, well done, Frank. Yeah, we're not slighting you, mate. It's just it's a huge injustice that Wilson didn't play. You've got a little bit of show and tell here. So what are we about to see from the McOnie collection?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about 2010, what an amazing World Cup that was. South Africa was magical because we were warned about, crime and all this sort of stuff, and it was actually brilliant. On the side of the road, there's lots of these people selling stuff that's made out of beads, and I bought this.
Stop it.
Yeah.
The South African Bead World Cup.
Yeah, and it's not looking too healthy, but I thought if we give it a bit of a polish, I think it'll come up nice because the beads have sort of dulled over time, but I just wonder whether if we can get some shine back into this World Cup. Polishing the World Cup could be a euphemism for something else, couldn't it? Spent my teenage years polishing the World Cup. Anyway, that's the World Cup.
That's fantastic. What do you got there? Plymouth Argyle.
So Plymouth Argyle, here we go. Here's something for you. I'll put the World Cup down for a second.
Okay.
So this is important because this is from Ben Waine.
Yes.
So I went and interviewed Ben Waine at Plymouth Argyle when Wayne Rooney was his manager, and I don't know if he knew that he was leaving, but he went into the kit room and he got this for me. So thank you to Ben Waine. I saw he scored a goal for Port Vale the other day, Robbie Williams' club. And it's actually at a point now where Chris Wood is still at an age where he can be dominant, and all those young ones have had enough years under their belt. There's a bit of a golden generation in there. I'm going to be in Vancouver for the Egypt and Belgium games. I just can't wait to see what the All Whites do on the world stage. I'm hoping that somebody just sort of leapfrogs into greatness, and Stamenic is a player I keep a close eye on. You know, he's our Jude Bellingham, if you like. He to me looks like he could play Premier League football. He's got the athleticism. He just needs to probably prove it, and the World Cup's perfect for that.
James McOnie in Goran's garden.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining me here, mate. We should probably get inside before we melt.
Yeah,
because the sun's popped out and I don't have sun cream.
And I'm not prepared to take my shirt off for this broadcast or any broadcast, for everyone's sake.
Well, what about Ben Waine? I mean, there's James McOnie holding up his Plymouth Argyle shirt, but he scores the winner again for Port Vale, and they're off to the court. This is something you know a thing or two about, mate. Port Vale over Sunderland. He's a Newcastle supporter. He does the Alan Shearer celebration as well. What a remarkable story for the Waine train, Iffy.
Oh, he's had an unbelievable week. You know, we were talking off air about last week. He scores against Bristol and brilliant, you know, great times. And then I woke up this morning and I checked the FA Cup results and I saw 1-0 against Sunderland. I thought 100% he scored again. I clicked on it. He scored. I'm like, oh my, what is going on? And then put on X, and the first thing on the old algorithm was Ben Waine doing the interview, and it was so wholesome. It was like he couldn't believe that he was involved in the game to start with, and then he scored, and he's like, "Oh, I've scored a poacher." It was such a nice interview, and a lot of time for the kid. And I think he's, you know, I've spoken about it before. I think there's a big drop off between Chris Wood and anybody else, but I think, you know, Ben Waine could be your kind of Shane Smelts at the World Cup, the guy that's not really expected to be your main man, but might pop up with an odd important guy. He's got a real good habit of scoring important goals at the moment, so long may that continue.
He's such a good kid. He's worked so hard to get where he's getting. He hasn't had it all his own way since he's made the move either. So you could see in the previous game when he was talking about coming up against Sunderland as a Newcastle fan, what it meant to him, and for him to go out there and back it up and do that, it's just, it's awesome. And like I've said, the interview was just a real heartwarmer. You could see it on his face. It was just so genuine, and I'm so pleased for him.
It's such a bad goal, though. Like the lead up to the goal. Like the header is great. Don't get me wrong. The header is great, but the lead up to the goal absolutely blows.
Yeah.
Like it's. The cross comes in, it's a poor control, some guy tries to volley it, it comes off his thigh, and then it's up to the Waine train to bury the header.
That's the magic of the cup.
Yeah, that's the cup. Yeah, the magic of the cup, because there's no magic being sprinkled on Port Vale in League One, because they are stone
That's what I
cold,
did next.
motherless
I checked and I was like, oh, that must be so hard for the fans, though. You're looking, why can't we do this every week?
But who knows, because they're looking at the table, I think they've got something like 4 games in hand on the team that is safe from the drop zone, and they're 11 points adrift. So you never know. The magic of the cup could influence their League One form, and they might avoid the drop. So you just never know. Although, with your FA Cup experience, you know how much of a distraction it can be as you go deeper into the competition, eh?
Look, I think it's what do the fans want? Do you want to stay in the league? Do you want to make the cup final? Because you're not going to do both. I think it does become a distraction. I think we were, I think, 4th when we won the semi, and we finished 9th. Wow. Yeah, we just fell apart. It was like, I'm jumping out of everything.
Port Vale have nowhere else to go.
No, but that's the there is that.
The only way is up.
There is that. So yeah, maybe it works the right way. Yeah, let's see.
Oh, great news for Ben Waine, and you know, you look at some of those teams that he could possibly come up against. Like, we're recording this, for full disclosure, we're recording this on a Monday morning, so we have no idea who Port Vale has in the quarterfinals. But you look at some of those teams that have qualified already, and there are some massive clubs that they could get.
I think they want to avoid them. I think they want Southampton at home. I think they want someone to go to Port Vale, the lowest team left in it. I think that's Southampton.
Right.
That's how we felt when we got to the quarters. It's like, it'd be great, but they've played a couple of big ones already. So you want to now play the shit and try and make the semi. But for those players, a semi-final might be at an Old Trafford. or at St James's Park, it's going to be a massive, massive day out, and you stumble your way through that, and you're in a final. So it's when you get to this stage and you actually start dreaming about it. It's like, oh, it's just around the corner.
Ollie, you've obviously come stumbling in here on your crutches, and you've put them on the table beside you. But how are things progressing with the knee? Was surgery required for you?
Yeah, so I am 5 weeks post-op on Wednesday for a full patellar tendon rupture. So the repair, had the repair 5 years. Pretty simple surgery, to be fair, very straightforward. Just relocating the kneecap back in place and reattaching the patellar tendon.
Sounds lovely.
He showed me a picture yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty grim. But no, it's going well, thanks, mate. It's slow. Particularly the first month where I was limited to lying on the couch and couldn't really even get on my own 2 feet without assistance. So shout out to my partner who's been amazing. It's been a tough gig. The works. She's been full time. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, it's getting better. Like I said, we got in the car this week, made it out the house. Slight bend, but the surgeon's really happy with how it's tracking. Good. Early on. The wound's healed up really nicely. And it's, like I said, it's a straightforward surgery and a straightforward rehab in that it's very clear what you have to do. I basically just have to rebuild the muscles in my leg because I'm going to be in this brace for 12 weeks. I'm going to be on crutches for 12 weeks. I'm pretty much going to lose all my strength and my quads shrinking, or pretty much already shrunk completely anyway. So the rehab is straightforward because it's purely just rebuilding leg muscles rather than the knee itself. The repair will be fully healed in another 7 weeks. So it's just about rebuilding the strength after that.
You sound fully across it. Is that because Pip, your mum, is obviously
certainly
being a top quality physiotherapist?
Yeah. I mean, the Auckland medical team's been fantastic, and Pip's just contributed where she could. I mean, I did it on a Saturday night away in Perth. The club was amazing. They delayed my flight, put me on a business class flight with my partner the next morning, and then I had the surgery the following evening. It was all within less than 72 hours, so it's pretty good.
When you did the injury against Perth of all teams over there, Iffy and I and Spoon, we were talking about it. He would have kicked 1,000 goal kicks.
Yeah, more,
like the nature of the injury was just ridiculous, mate.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I was chatting about it with Iffy yesterday. It was almost laughable, mate. Like, it was one of those things. What else can you do? I'd done everything right physically as well. Like, there was an expectation of the Auckland FC players to be at a certain level physically. I came in, I wasn't there. It wasn't something that I'd done before. It wasn't something that I was ready for. And I came in and did all the work and got to a place that I was really happy with. Probably the best physical condition of my career. And then, it just happened. This is the way it goes. I've only ever had one injury that's kept me on the sideline out of a game, and it was an impact injury. And so I've never actually had a long-term sustained injury like this. So I just had to laugh.
How old are you now?
Just turned 30.
That's some run.
Yeah.
By the way, some run to get to that point. But then you've done it, and you've done a proper one.
Yeah.
What sort of patient are you?
We're finding out.
What will the missus say? That's the important.
Finding out. No, she's been relatively impressed with how I've been. There's been moments.
Always.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a pretty positive guy, and I'm pretty laid back, so I think that helps. But then obviously, it's a new scenario for me, and I'm a very outdoorsy person as well. I like being social. I love going for dinner. I love going for coffee with the boys, whatever it is. And obviously that first month has been really challenging because we've barely left the house. So it's been a bit difficult. But yeah, there's silver linings. I was able to attend a family wedding last weekend, which I would
Can't
not
do
have
that
been.
in season, can you?
Exactly.
Normally,
Yeah. So there's little silver linings in there.
Yeah, well, that's the key in life, isn't it? Like finding the silver lining to the dark cloud. I've bored Spoon absolutely shitless with like my tale of woe over the last couple of years. But, when I was out of work, it allowed me to spend a lot of time with my daughter, which, thinking about it now, is actually a bad thing for our family because like she's now adopted my personality and she's an absolute shithead. So, good with the bad. But what I'm saying is,
we almost got to the positive side.
One of the things that Spoon was mentioning in the wake of your injury and where you were injured was the behaviour of the Perth Glory supporters. Yeah. And look, they're gonna go off when they see one of their former players go down injured. They're gonna celebrate it, but I think they celebrated a little bit too hard when you were carried off on the stretcher. What did you think about their behaviour as you were being taken from the field?
Yeah, look, I had an interesting relationship with the Perth Glory fans in the 2 years. It was a very difficult period for the club, and obviously when I arrived, there was a lot of expectation, and I'm happy to say I didn't deliver on the expectation on my part either, but it was a very challenging scenario with a lot going on, and they probably didn't understand the moving parts of everything that was going on, and I copped the brunt of a lot of stuff. And then at times the relationship felt really good. There was periods where things turned a corner and my form was much better, and then it was fine. But yeah, that was an interesting one to have that treatment. I mean, like you said, you kind of expect it anyway. Like you expect a little bit of grief, but I guess you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They probably didn't know if it was serious. Looking back on it, they probably wouldn't do the same thing again. But you don't know. But I've never really been one to be bothered by the opinions of any of the fans and stuff like that. And it's just part of the game. You just move on with it. But a few of the boys probably took more issue to it than I did. During the match, they were not happy. Went over and had a crack at the fans and stuff like that. But it's just
what were they saying?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Cozzy and who else? Lockie and Dan Hall. They were vocal.
Oh, yeah.
They were getting stuck into their fans. But it's just part of it, unfortunately. Those young kids in front of that Perth block are pretty rowdy and they get carried away. Sometimes it's when you're on the good side of it. Sometimes you're on the bad side of it. So it's just part of it.
Ultimately, as a professional footballer, you want to be playing football, and it's such a massive year for New Zealand football. It's one of the constant threads that we're discussing on the Unused subs. All roads lead to a World Cup. So not only are you out for Auckland FC, you're now out of the running for a World Cup in the Americas, and that's got to take some getting used to. And I think about your run over the last 4 years or so. And we spoke about this with you on the Unused subs last year. The disappointment of not making the 2022 World Cup and some of the performances leading into that, having that opportunity taken from you, and now you're out injured and unable to be selected. What's that like for your mentality and your emotions, Ollie?
It's a funny one. I'm not sure it's hit me yet. I think once the tournament comes around, once the March window's coming up, so obviously I think we'll see a squad that's going to look somewhat similar to the one that's going to go once that's named and those boys are playing there, and then you start have the time leading into the tournament where it starts to get really busy. I think that'll probably be where it settles in. But you got to remember as well, I wasn't playing here at the time. Just before I got my opportunity, just before I got injured, I wasn't playing here. So that wasn't a guarantee. That was a possibility, and I believed in myself. And I'd actually said the week before that to a few people that I'm going to get my chance here and I'm going to make that World Cup. But it wasn't a guarantee. So I had, I guess, somewhat already started preparing for that potential disappointment. Like, let's say Mikey just stayed on a heater and kept keeping clean sheets and we kept winning games. I may not have got a chance here. Then the selection for that tournament really comes into question. So it wasn't a guarantee, mate. But yeah, I think fast forward a couple of months when things start really ramping up, I think it'll probably kind of settle in, the disappointment. But what can you do? It's all part of it. There's the disappointment of not being able to play the next week was just as big, well, for me at the moment. Until that rolls around, it may change, but yeah.
And looking ahead, bigger picture stuff. You're only 30 as a goalkeeper. If you're an outfield player, you're probably going, "This is probably my last shot." As a goalkeeper, you've probably got another one in you, haven't you? If you get yourself fit, is that bigger picture stuff for you?
Oh, for sure. I think, and I haven't really spoken about this much on air or to the public, but I didn't grow up a footballer. I didn't grow up a football fan. None of my family ever played football. Really supportive family.
You're too busy beating the shit out of each other, right?
Exactly. So this is all kind of new to me, and I am obviously in football and I love football and I'm so grateful for everything it's given me, and I work so hard to be as good as I can at it. But it's not my whole personality, and I think that I have a good talent in being able to, not talent, but compartmentalize and separate my personality from football and things like that. So yeah, I think that coming into the end of this contract, even before I was injured. I didn't know what the future held, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But now that this has happened, this has just stoked a fire in me I want to play forever. I want to play as long as I can possibly play. I want to prove to people that, or not even prove to anyone else, but prove to myself that I can rehab from this. I've never had an injury, so I want to prove that I can bounce back from that, because I've bounced back from plenty before, so why not add an injury to the, so we'll see. And now I just want to keep playing forever as long as I can, and it's kind of reinstated my love for football and my passion for it. So again, another silver lining from it.
I'm interested to know then, what do you describe yourself as? Are you like a golfer trapped in a goalkeeper's body, or?
Yeah, close enough. Yeah, like I said, I do absolutely love football, and I love just about everything about it. But I didn't grow up dying to play football like so many of everyone that we play with. So it's kind of obviously.
Well, then how did you fall into it?
I don't know. I got too skinny for rugby. I was getting beat up every week. My older brothers were beating me up at home enough, and then I needed to go out, and I was getting beat up on the rugby field too. I remember playing a game at Sturgis Park in Otahu.
Yeah.
And I was the only Pākehā white boy on the field. My parents were the only Pākehā white family in the whole complex, and we were getting abused. My parents were getting abused.
God.
I was getting abused. Okay. Other parents were yelling, "Take the head off the white boy."
Okay.
Yeah, it's time to go.
So I was thinking, okay, I don't think this is for me.
Before I get decapitated, I need to find another sport.
I'm not tough enough for that. So I went to football. All my mates are playing football anyway, and I've also got a godfather who's a Mancunian, huge Manchester United fan. So he'd already kind of pushed me down that avenue, and it hadn't really worked out. So I was like, you know what, actually, I'll go back to him and see if he still wants me.
So when you make the decision to save your life and exit the game of rugby union, and you go to football, you're obviously, because what are you, 6'5"?
Yeah, just over.
You're a big bastard. So you've probably only got like two choices: goalkeeper, or maybe three choices: goalkeeper, central defender, or a striker. So
I can see him up top. Actually.
yeah, I know. Like a Cosgrove type player, right?
Yeah.
So why did you make the choice to become a goalkeeper after all of that?
I don't know. I really don't know. And I still ask myself that sometimes. There was a few times in that Perth Glory jersey when it got to 7 and 8 that I thought, why did I do this? But
is it too late? Can I start again?
Yeah. Take me back to the rugby.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I could have run on without a head. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes the best job in the world, and it's sometimes the worst job in the world. But it's I've always enjoyed it, and like everyone talks, you've got to be a little bit crazy to be a goalkeeper, and I think that element kind of helps. I don't think I would have had the temperament to play up front with people always kicking at me ankles and grabbing me shirt up. I think I would have seen the colour red too often. But you never know. And also I didn't have the skills or the pace for it, so I was a chuck the lanky guy in the nets.
One thing that I want to commend you on, right? So we've already spoken about coming to the club, coming to Auckland FC, and then being behind Michael Vout in the pecking order. And that can be devastating for players, and you can lose your head. But I never saw that from you once. Like all of the vision, like game day vision, you were happy, smiling. I'm not a body language expert by any stretch, but your body language was always like really positive. I don't expect you to tell me that it was put on, but like, were you genuinely stoked to be part of the environment, and it didn't really matter that you weren't seeing game time before you got injured?
Not at all. But like I said, I can compartmentalise quite well.
Yeah.
And I still had a role to play within that group. Bimby told me straight away that whatever way this goes, you've got a role to play. He said Mikey did it exceptionally last year behind Alex, and I expect the same of you. And I knew when I arrived that Mikey was going to have the first opportunity to stake a claim, because I was cup tied, and obviously I was arriving a little bit late anyway. And they had said to me that in those cup games in the pre-season that he deserves a chance after the way he'd gone last season, the way what he'd done to the group, what he'd done with the group. So I said, no problem, that's fine. Obviously, I expected or hoped to play sooner. But when you're a part of a team that's going to be up the top chasing silver, you're going to win games, and the goalkeeper's probably going to have less to do. Probably it's a little bit sheltered, and then performed really well for a stretch as well. So you can't have any complaints. I don't have a complaint not being able to get into a winning team. What can you do? Like all I could do was do my best, prepare myself, help the team, prepare Mikey, and then whatever happened. I still felt that with my qualities, it was going to happen at some point, and I was going to get a chance. And I did, but it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But yeah, I think it's a skill to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But that it wasn't faked. I wasn't turning up there pretending to be happy for Mikey or pretending to be happy for the team, because I was. But I was still disappointed that I wasn't getting the chance. But they're different emotions. They're not the same thing. They can coexist together without,
How did Jonathan Gould deal with that? It's probably different for him over the years. He's had a clear number one and probably a clear number two. You've got a bit of a goalkeepers union. The two's absolutely pushing, but he's waiting for his shot. And here he's got two guys that are chomping at the bit. And look, you clearly get on, but you know what it's like. It's dog eat dog. You want to play.
100%. Oh, no, he's fantastic. And the whole staff set up, all of them, they teed that environment up perfectly. They were very clear at the beginning how it was going to go and what was expected of me. Then after that, it was a dog eat dog world. You go and do whatever you got to do. You train as hard as you can. You do whatever you can to take the starting spot. But the expectation is that you help Mikey, you help the team, you're positive, you're influential as a person and as a leader, and then we'll see where it lands.
I think looking from the outside in there, that's the kind of mantra for the club, isn't it? Like, there's so much competition for places, and I think that's no surprise why you're going for a second Premier's play.
Absolutely, you're spot on. Look at the depth we have in our squad. There's going to be frustrated players. There has to be. Look at the quality we have. We have 5 or 6 players on the bench that would probably start for just about every other.
You brought
team in
Lockie
the comp.
Brook on at the weekend. Like, he starts in any other team every week.
Exactly.
I spoke to Adam Griffiths really briefly as I was leaving, and we were quickly talking about the game, and he said, "I'm bringing on kids. No disrespect to my players, but he said they're bringing on Lockie Brook,
Louis Verstrata.
Brimmer and Verstrata would play in any midfield in this league, for sure. And like you said, Lockie Brook as well. And someone like Gillian, who's just coming back into form, it's a really, really good problem for Steve Corica to have.
And that poses its own challenges as a coach, as you know, because you then have to balance
the expectation.
Egos and expectations and characters, certain characters and emotions, because not everyone can play.
Well, they need to know that they're going to get a sniff at some point, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they've done it brilliantly, and no one would care. Me saying this, there are frustrations. Of course, there are frustrations within the group. If you're not playing, you're pissed off, and you want to go. You want to be the guy going out there and winning titles and scoring goals and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, of course there are frustrations, but it's the way they manage it, and they do it well, and that's what makes us so strong.
Well, I wonder how Darren Baisley's going to manage the egos and the expectations and the frustrations of the All Whites goalkeepers. Because let's face it, bar injury, we're going to see Max Crocombe and Alex Paulsen vie for the number 1 shirt at the World Cup. And you've got Max, who's doing so well with Millwall. They're in the playoff spots to go to the Premier League for next season. And then Alex Paulsen, I don't know how closely you guys have been following this, but ever since he arrived in Poland, his team has gone on 1A. They've started climbing the, what do they call it, the Ekstraklasa in Poland, climbing the ladder there, to the point where there is only one team that has won more games in the league. So Alex Paulsen's arrival has signalled their launch up the ladder. Ollie, as a goalkeeper, as somebody who knows these guys really well and the attributes that each of them would give the team, who starts at the World Cup? Is it Max Crocombe or is it Alex Paulsen?
Oh, it's such a tough question. Especially given the current situation with their playing, they're both doing so well in their respective environments, and I think given what Max has done over the last 18 months to 2 years, I would probably say he's in pole position. I think AP, because Max has done so well over the last 18 months, he hasn't had the opportunities in the national team environment that he probably would have anywhere else had Max not been going so well. It's a really tough decision. It purely depends on how you approach the games as well, because they're different goalkeepers. Alex, in terms of possession in the defensive third and ball retention and building up from the back, is probably New Zealand's best option. And then Max, has more experience, has probably proven it at a higher level, has been consistent for a long period of time. So it's a decision you have to make, but equally both fantastic options. So
you're sitting on the fence.
I'm hedging
Come
my
on, mate,
bets.
let's say a name. It's Crocombe or it's Paulsen.
I've still got to go visit those boys in March, so I think I'll stay on the fence. Thank you.
We'll get you back after the March International.
Yeah. Maybe once they get on the plane and I don't have to see them face to face again, then I'll give.
Yeah, but you've probably got like a goalkeepers union WhatsApp group chat, and whatever you say, whatever you put out there, they'll just abuse you on that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very
Okay, so I'll go to the independent analysis
I prefer that, thank
of Paul Iffy. And look, I totally take your point about how Darren Bazley will want to play. Like, if you want to play out from the back, Alex Paulsen is your guy. But if he doesn't want to do that, then it's Max Crocombe. Iffy, come on, mate, give it to us.
Yeah.
What way should he go?
I think he sticks with Crocombe, and the funny thing is, I think overall Paulsen's the better goalkeeper. I think he will end up being the number one for a long, long time. But I think right now, Crocombe has done so much in this sort of last 2 years to elevate himself, and he's the guy with the shirt at the moment. So I don't think you change it this close. The season he's having at Millwall, like when he came in, obviously former Millwall player, so I keep an eye on what's going on. And I think he'd been at Burton Albion. I think he'd been there Player of the Year, etc., etc. And people were moaning, why are we getting a keeper from that level?
Right.
The fans didn't really expect him to play, and it took a while to get himself in the team, and he's worked his way in, and he has been absolutely excellent. And again, another keeper that's really helped out with that rise up the table. They're third in the Championship, which is a really, really tough division. You've got to be, a tough person, resilient person to be able to play in that stadium. It's a horrible place to play. So he'll be ready to go. But I think what a position that we're in when you're arguing over. Normally, every other time we've been, there's a clear number one.
Yes.
Clear number two, number three, you just take it in for whatever. If this guy was fit, look at what we have. And I mean, who gets the third
insane,
spot?
eh?
Well, that's right. You've still got people like Nick Zanev, I suppose, and Valdi now will be going, all guns blazing to go, well, why not?
Yeah.
I think he probably thought there was no chance, but all of a sudden he gets injured. He's now, well, let's have a go at this. So I think the goalkeeping stocks are super high. What position for Bazley to be in that he's having a... Not too sure, but it's not because they're not playing well. It's actually because they are playing well, and it's unheard of, really.
Yeah.
Now that you're on the spot, here's a question for you.
Here we go.
I'm on the outside now.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Max hasn't played the last few weeks.
Yeah.
He's been on the bench after the manager decided to bring a goalkeeper in the January window. Does that affect your...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was Bazley, if between now and the end of the season Paulsen's playing and Max is not, then I'd go Paulsen. I think you've got to go with the guy playing and in form, for sure. But I think Max was that guy until the last couple of weeks. It's interesting that he did that, because I saw him bring in a keeper and I thought, surely, Max has been excellent. He's not going to play and straight in.
I don't think the fans were very happy with that either,
agreed. But I mean, results will ultimately be the winner in the end. If they're winning it, they'll be forgotten. Max will be forgotten. That's how football works, isn't it? They'll be forgotten. They'll be roaring off on the way to the Premier League. And Max will be wondering where it all went wrong, won't they?
Who was that guy that used to play for us? He was from Australia, wasn't he? He was an Aussie guy.
Yeah.
Max Crocodile. That is him. Yeah, Crocodile Hunter. Yeah. Oh, well,
that's how the game goes. That's how the game goes.
Tough old world, isn't it?
Yeah.
where would Jacob Spoonley sit in the current... He's behind the bar pulling pints.
I think Spoons would have been in the mix.
He was always too intelligent to be a goalkeeper.
I said that. I said that exactly. Football kind of got in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
He was a good quality goalkeeper, but he was too smart.
Pasty was the same.
Yeah.
I always used to speak to Mark Paston. He'd come back from the World Cup and he was excellent at the World Cup. And he was just not bothered. And I was like, how good was that? Yeah, it was all right. And he just didn't really like football that much.
Yeah.
Pasty.
That seems just outrageous.
Honestly, crazy. And it took him a while to get back into the Phoenix stuff after the World Cup. He was like, oh, well, we've kind of been up there and now we're back down there. And I never really liked it in the first place. I remember thinking, he's not going to be long in this game.
No. I mean, I would give my shithead second-born, my daughter Mila, for an opportunity to play at a World Cup. And here's this guy who goes there.
Yeah, he wasn't too fast.
Whatever.
Yeah, didn't lose a game at the World Cup. Well, it was all right.
On to the next. This has been another outstanding episode of the Unused Subs, proudly presented by McDonald's.